to provide that if the buyer fails to satisfy the conditions relating to the renovation of the property on or before December 31st, 2027, then title and ownership of the property shall automatically and immediately revert back to the city. Be it further resolved, the mayor is authorized to sign the purchase offer and sale contract together with any and all documents in order to finalize the closing of the sale, and direct staff to record the sale proceeds into revenue account A992660, sale of real property.
Very good, thank you. There has been some questions regarding what the use of this property is going to be. We do have clarification on that we were prepared to present tonight when we discussed the resolution. Ms. Haynes, do you want to present that? Do you want me to read it into the record?
Thank you, Mayor. I emailed the council this morning with some of these answers and clarifications for what this property is going to be used for. Again, as read in the resolution and in the background memo, the council voted in September of 2022 to sell this property to Housing Visions for the purposes of creating permanent rental units. At the time, it was 16. They've gone through this time frame, done their due diligence, worked through the process with the State Historic Preservation Office. They were hoping to renovate the property using historic tax credits. The State Historic Preservation Office ultimately determined that the property was not eligible for historic tax credits. So they retooled the project. The way that the building's been modified by the previous owner, it made it inefficient for the unit mix they were looking at. So they ultimately made the decision to demolish the building and rebuild with a more efficient floor plan and a larger number of units. So I'll read the unit mix to you. This is from Housing Visions. For the 197 State Street unit mix, we are proposing 26 one-bedroom units. Those will be long-term rental units. We are currently considering setting aside 12 units for supportive housing, 8 units for Cayuga Community Health Network, and 4 units for Housing Visions Connect program. These units will be Empire State Supportive Housing Initiative, or ESHI for short, units, which means they are experiencing chronic homelessness, and the Cayuga Health Network units will have some form of mental illness, while the Housing Visions Connect units will be for youth aging out of foster care. I'll just pause for a moment. This housing will be provided for people that have experienced homelessness, and it'll be providing permanent housing for those folks. This is not a shelter. All of the supportive housing units will have access to their respective case managers. The remaining 14 units will be for individuals or families at 50 to 60% of area median income, which is incomes up to $33,500 for the 50% units and $40,230 for the 60% units. So that is what is happening there, 26 units. There's, again, a partnership with the Community Health Network, who provides permanent supportive housing units already in our community on a scattered site basis. So they'll be a partner in this project as well.
Any questions on that information that was just presented? There's a closing date scheduled for on or about April of 2026. Why is it so far out?
It's so far out because of the funding sources that are being applied for this. In order to submit those applications, they need to have site control, which this approved purchase offer would provide them. In addition, they need to submit a special use permit application to the planning board, and that zoning district, any number of units more than 5 has to be approved by a special use permit application. That application has been submitted and is planned for the January planning board meeting. So they have to have those approvals in order to move forward the funding applications. So that's why that closing date is out so far.
And does that tie into why paragraph 8 on page 10 is left blank regarding multi-units?
In my opinion, yes. I'll let Corporation Counsel.
I can answer that, Mr. Mayor. The purchase offer and sale contract is a document that's promulgated by the Bar Association and the Cayuga County Board of Realtors. There are similar contracts in every county in the state. just to get down to the bedrock principles of contract law, a contract is a meeting of the minds, and this document tries to encompass as many different things that people could agree on and put it into one document. So there are things within this document that will not apply to any particular contract for the purchase of real property, including the item that you identified, Mayor, that paragraph 8 of on page 10, multi-unit mixed use, initial if applicable. This is a remedy for the buyer, where the buyer can, if they so elect, and certain facts fall into place, ask for their deposit to be returned. The buyer did not elect to bargain for that particular contractual remedy, and it is almost certain that they did not choose to bargain for that particular contractual remedy because it's frankly just not applicable. The facts would not support that, and frankly, they know what they're doing. So it's not something that would survive the closing of the real estate deal. The thing that I think is important for council to understand and remember is that the operative legal principles at play here are a quitclaim deed, reversionary contract. These are all things that will be in the deed. It's filed in the county clerk's office that will hold the developer to a timetable and to try to do their best to put the property to productive use.
All right, very good, thank you. And then the last thing I had was the issue that held this up a week was that there was language on page 3, paragraph 4D, that said at the time of closing, the premises shall be free, excuse me, of any toxic or hazardous substances, and then it goes on. That's been stricken from the contract and initialed by the buyer, so we're all set there?
That's correct.
Okay, very good.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask earlier, if I may. We have had this property since when did the
June of 2019.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on council at the time, and we did hire a real estate agent to sell this, and that had been on the market for at least 3 years before Housing Visions came forward. And there were a few people interested here and there, but correct me if I'm wrong, we didn't get any other buyers.
The offers were not acceptable to the council. That there was a couple that were made. They were not in line with what we were hoping for the
Yes.
property.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Counselor Kent?
Yes.
Counselor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Counselor Cuddy?
Yes.
Counselor Calarco?
Aye.
Mayor Genatino?
Aye.
Carried.